All right, we are live, and as I may have said before, the very silly. I other stream I forgot to press the live button, and just wanted to restart it. So here we go, switching over to the other screen. All right, so starting over. I hope everybody had a good day, good evening, good afternoon, wherever y'all are, and I'm gonna be playing the game and talking about some different new stuff, trials, and things that are going on. And now I want to go back to the game that I was playing. All right, here we go. So in the pirate game, it is it is raining. Here we go, and fighting some of these Spanish zombies right here. Yeah, and this one there is a spooky sun right there. All right. So there something. So in the Max, I've been keeping up with the Epstein stuff. So with Maxwell, she didn't really give any information, and what we speculated, she pled the fifth and didn't really answer any important questions about. They got me. Didn't answer any important questions about the different things that she was being asked about, obviously. And so people are kind of more left in the dark, and then the uh, Clinton is going to be later this month. He was saying on X Twitter that he wanted the files released, and people were kind of saying like he could just. Hello, mermaid. I'm watching that guy do Epstein victim diaries. I think. Oh, good, good. The the Epstein victim diaries is one that I came across too. That's a, a good one to look into as well. The Epstein victim diaries, they were a lot of like the one that I was seeing was encryptic, and it was ciphered. And by the way, that's a skeleton that's stuck in the prison right there, in the jail. He's just wasted away, and yeah, so that, and she talks a lot about like poetically about the stuff that happened to her, about allegedly having Epstein's baby and being abused by various wealthy people. Yeah, so that is certainly a rabbit hole that must be gone down. You're watching the cryptic one. Yes, yes. And it was so disturbing that, and she had a lot of inspiration though, where there's quotes about like the ugly duckling that was actually a swan. There was she had coping mechanisms to about what happened. She also had some quotes from Princess Diana, because back at that time, that's when Princess Diana was around, and that was a figure for them at that time, a celebrity at that time. So it was also a time capsule of that era, early 2000s, 90s, and she had these a post like a poster book of pictures of sharks of different nature and things. Because when I was coming across, I was like, "Oh, this is interesting." And then yeah, they she talks a lot about different politicians, different that were doing things to her. Yeah, that's definitely. I'm glad it's being covered. I talked about it in one of the videos I did, and that was a one that didn't see mentioned as much. The yesterday, which I did a video about like this morning, was this very creepy comic of the different victims he had, and like these fantasies he had about them. He was real weird. It needs to be exposed because that's what these sickos were doing, and that's what he was exchanging with his friends. Because and the people, the elites, etc. In my opinion, that were involved with this, is it's he's gone or somewhere in an island or in another country if he's actually still alive, and he got away with it. But he is not in the picture at the moment. But the people that are still around had something to do with it are still there, and you need to put to justice. A big criticism about the files is that we don't know who these people are that did it. And although for legal purposes, I understand they have to redact stuff, but with the victims need to be redacted, definitely. I think that's true. But the other people that were responsible need to be put to justice. And there's something called Pizzagate, which pizza is allegedly a code word for doing stuff to the children. That is why, and they need to be exposed as well. Yeah. Yeah, I think that people are, if people are starting to get fed up with all this nonsense, but it's good that with the way our constitution always set up, where people can look through these files and then dispute about it online. Other countries we couldn't do that, so that's a positive about it. I There's something interesting about his death, where the day before he deleted himself allegedly, there was it was already, the suicide note was already drafted out. Which what does that mean? That means what the jail, the government was saying about, he was found deleted in his prison cell. What's the point? Is that was the day before he did it. He was found the next day. So it's kind of weird. Like, they knew it was going to happen. It's like in, say, 9/11, where Tower 7 was said to fall, but it was still standing. Then it fell a couple of moments later, and then it wasn't even hit by anything. So sometimes there's these little bloopers that happen where people are like, hey, doesn't mean something shady's happening, but people are raising an eyebrow like, what are we doing here? What's going on here? And it doesn't mean that people are guilty. There's no one's like being held accountable right at the moment, but it's needs to be investigated, and the files are forcibly dumped out now, which is good. And there's videos of things that they did. It's like slavery. It's basically slavery, human trafficking. They had videos and pictures of the girls and different poses, etc., where they're trying to make proper it's like propaganda to the people that they're trafficking them to. It looks like sometimes there's some pictures that were to Jeffrey specifically, so it seems like a network of them doing that. And they fell for the things of this world, the Epstein and his the morons that were conspiring with him. He did lots of blackmail, as I said before. That's where all these pictures come from. And they would have other girls, as they grew up to be adults, to recruit others, because they had Stockholm Syndrome. A lot of times people are abused, they become abusers themselves. Yeah. And so at some point, see about putting people to justice, having some trials come out about it. Everybody's playing innocent. Nobody knows anything. It's like with Skeeter Jean or Chris Hansen's show. It's like they all didn't do anything, and nobody did anything, but somebody did something. Yeah. there's a lot of emails of communications between different attorneys with different cases and investigators from the FBI who were investigating different people that were involved with it and with Epstein. So that was interesting to see as well. And yeah, there are some people that should have been redacted, like that had nothing to do with anything, that wouldn't be attacked, were redacted. So there's theories that there could have been different ways of handling it, but then again, we could learn for next time. And it was millions of files, and I have to go through every single one of them and redact pictures and etc. Yeah, I think everybody should know about it. I think it's a concern for all people, and whoever was involved in a negative way should be exposed. Okay, and it is raining in the Caribbean. Okay, let's go and attack this one right there. And I think the cryptic journal, the cryptic, I'm calling it a journal, the cryptic diary tells a lot of stories. It tells a lot of truth. And I just kind of, I love reading for, to really just grasp at what happened, about what the victims say, because it's important to know like their perspective, because there's so many, as I've read the legal docs of interviews with them, and they were just like shocked. They were very frightened about what they went through. And there's other people that were like other victims that they became friends with. So yeah, it's those victim impact, I call them victim impact statements, if they're not, but that's what I call them, are really just bring you into like what was going on. So those I feel is one of the most important ones. There's pictures of the islands, of the island itself. There's Greek, Roman, and Roman like mythological paintings on the ceiling of the temple, and like what was going on in that temple. It's quite shocking, like what was going on in there, because that just proves about the occultic ties that they have. The island could have been a cool place to get away or have like a resort there. I'm sure it would have made a lot of money, or it just could have been a private place for people to chill. It's like people gotta like realize there's other ways to. I know that these people have an addiction to these perverted things, you know, because people have all kinds of different addictions, and they have an addiction to that, but it doesn't really give them any excuse, and you need to get help for it or just be locked up. But yeah, it could have been used for something else. Like this region in this game is basically where that island would have been. Like one of these islands, 100 or like a couple hundred years from now, would have been used in the Epstein thing. Very eerie in a way about the game, because it was in that region of the world and the Caribbean. But no, they used it for something evil. And you know, and Epstein believes in the soul. He believes in, but of course, even evil believes in these things in a spiritual realm. So he does believe in that stuff he was saying, but you know, they're using it for an evil purpose. One of the Satanists that work for the government, which is quite like ironic, was had a dagger from Heinrich Himmler, who is in the SS, and he was an occultic Nazi, and it's like, oh, that's connected. these occultic things, and that's what they want, symbols of evil, because they get energy from it. And the Enderchrome, that really explains about like what vampires in these mythologies wanted. And this is I'm about to say a very far out conspiracy theory that you know those that don't believe in it could just take it with a grain of salt or entertainment, but it's something that is there. Where it's something that young children allegedly have, where it's a type of energy that they absorb, similar to you know in movies and cartoons and mythology, these draining the energy out of people. That is the Androchrome, and that's what they allegedly wanted to extract. That's one of the reasons for these things. So, uh, where people don't have to be religious, of course, because people could be not religious and not support something weird like that. But from the religious perspective, we are filled with the Spirit of God, where we don't need the fountain of youth, so to speak. Because I do believe there's truth to some of these mythologies. Not all of them. I think some things we made up for, like, say, Pirates of the Caribbean, that was based off of something, but it's, a movie. Something can be fictional. I could make up a story tomorrow. And I could be visited by some imaginary being tomorrow that I made up. I'm not denying that. But I do think there's some truth to the spiritual realm, some of these mythologies. Maybe most of them, or all of them. But, yeah. That's when you dig in. That's what I always want to do with the conspiracy theories. When aliens is something I started out with. And on this channel, we talk about. See, we don't just talk about aliens, but we talk about all kinds of stuff. Because whatever is like the relevant theory at the moment, which aliens is true, in my opinion, and important to talk about. But especially things that are going on in this world that are happening at the moment, are extremely important, for us to discuss. And when you look, I remember when I look into conspiracy theories that a lot of them seem like they made sense or could be argued to be real. If you looked into it, that it wasn't just a foolish idea or some, I don't know, a lizard, Sheen, Timu, lurker came and zapped me, and it didn't really happen. Like, that's what they try to make it sound like. They try to make it sound like it's some nonsense, but it's actually something. When you look into it, it makes sense. It can make sense. Some conspiracy theories are not true. Some are proven false. But some of them, what you would call a hoax. But there are the real ones. Now, the hoaxes aren't really good because they discredit the real theories. By the way, I saw a story the other day that there is some goof that was trying to create a Bigfoot hoax, because there are Bigfoot hoaxes. Like, I could put on a Bigfoot costume tomorrow and walk around, and there you go. There's Bigfoot, right? I'm not denying that, but I do believe there are real sightings of it. And someone was going to do a Bigfoot hoax because they're into pranking people, and he was doing it on a freeway, and he got obliterated by a truck. And then a car rolled over him, too. That's why the dude didn't survive, because he was barely hanging in there. He would have survived if the other vehicle didn't hit them, and they both were underage drivers, which is wild. And, there's a point where you gotta go, look, we're going to do a practical joke. We live each day if it was the last day of our lives, etc., right? But we gotta not waste our talents and do foolish things like that. Accidents can happen, Bruce Lee and his son both passed away under unfortunate circumstances and mysterious circumstances. Sometimes people can get deleted, right? But in an honorable way. But being a goof like that is not really practical. People just go so far to get attention and to do jokes. It's completely uncalled for. And I'll even see on the platform that people just do things to get views uh, only, right? They want to get views and get recognition, but it only backfires a lot of times. Yeah. Okay, now we're gonna switch and go that way. Oh, they hit me. They might try to sink me. It could happen. It could happen. All right. Um, Now we're just going to go dock and take the loot right now. Yay! All right, now heading to the shore. Heading to Tortuga. Heavy scattering gun. Interesting. Okay. Right, we repair the ship, and it's raining as the daylight is happening. They would say it's a double beating his wife. That's I don't know where that came from, but that's what they usually would tell me when that happens. All right, so okay, these are some banana trees. All right, that's the pub. All right, and that is Captain Jack right there. Shout out to him. Right, and he's just playing his poker. So that's poker, and then that's a game. And the stormy high seas. Scared? Okay. This is Blige-Water. Blige-Water is where they have the liar's dice. Okay, looks like the rain stopped. Now, an interesting fact about rum is that they found it on these islands all those years ago. Like, I mean, hundreds of years after they left it behind. So it's from the original pirates and people of that era. So I thought that was fascinating that they did that. Well, that's the Kraken ship right there. Okay, let's see. I got a little surprised by the lightning for a second from the other ships. Okay, here we go. Well, that's an interesting one. Well, I like the graphics on top of it. Ah, okay. One of the pirates. They must be fighting it. Well, that's brave of them. Okay, they already caught it. And then the different companies that create rum got it, and they just made their own variations of the ingredients they had. Rum was good for like water, yeah, because they didn't really water and different types of drinks weren't preserved as well at that time on the high seas. So that's why they had that instead of other ones. All right. Okay, let's attack here. Okay, fire at will. Okay. Okay, now floating out forward. Okay. That is cool. Ah, wow! It was trying to sink because that ship has a lot of loot. That's why they're going after him. All right, good. We sunk that. Okay. All right, hitting that one, and then we're gonna hit the other one, right there. All right, good. We took that down, helping the ally ship. Awesome. Now speeding up this way, going to the side, right there. Boom. All right, nice. All right, giving the ship cover. Okay. Looks like those pirates are still on that big ship. Well, that is a lot of enemies to fight. Yeah, definitely. We're gonna have this ship that's gonna try to attack me. Then we're gonna go over to this direction. Okay. And there could be some more information on Guthrie, the Nancy, the one that was kidnapped. We'll look into that to see what's going on. Also. Alright, and now firing at will. Let's go further up. Alright, and the stream went out. Okay. And then the stream is coming back on. That's good. There's some, and in the Epstein files, there's some very heavily redacted files where everything is like is blacked out. Okay, and then we are firing this right there, and it did nothing. Oh, nice. Nice. Now we have the skull and bones over our ship. Now be careful here, because it can sink us. Okay, we dodged a bullet. That's good. Well, that's cool how both ships are working together here. Very important. There's 2 bounty hunters. Wow, I'm spoiled. There we go. Is he gonna fight them or not? Okay, let's go here. You know, in this game, there's a group that I used to play with back, like, before the 2020s. And during the 2020s, like, before the other computer lived its life cycle. And, you know, the computer, you know, during the COOF scamdemic thing, it went out. And, but yeah, the group I played, I would pilot her ship. She was very high ranking, but I did well with the ship. And I just had a lot of experience with, you know, this in the game. Alright. Alright, let's go here. Let's go that way. We should be getting her done. Let's see. There we go. More artillery is coming in. Boom. It's going to go down. Bam. Alright, fantastic. Alright, he's going to the island. But I will also go on as well. Yeah, that's where I was actually going to go to Bridgewater. Whoa, I didn't realize I was being creeped up on like that. Whoa. Alright, here we go. Queen Spirit. Oh, nice. It went out. That's good. Alright, now we're docking. Here we go. Okay, so rubies, copper, cotton, silk, oak, silk, pine, and iron. An orange cotton tank, banner saber, and swashbuckler's blunder bus. It could be boost. Alright. Awesome. You got these crabs. They're more red looking now. Okay. Got some red crabs. It struck me. Well, I'm sure my sword can't. Oh, well, oh. Well, I had to take that quickly because it was gonna. They were gonna get me. I've mastered the sword quite well. Let's see. Oh, I got a treasure chest. Awesome. We're about to take this dude out too. Oh, I got 2 chests. Oh, cool. Royal Broadsword. Let's see. Take that out. Take it all. That's cool. Oh, we got a lot of seagulls in this island. Oh, that's a nice moon. Okay, let's go. There. Ah, yeah, okay. Liar's dice. It's all of a game of tricks and chances. Alright. Alright, let's do this. Okay, one dice. They played this on Davy Jones's ship, by the way. Alright. Let's see. That time I lost one. Okay. Is what these people did for entertainment back then. Let's see. Alright, let's see. Okay, and then there's a dice lost. Okay. Alright. Let's see. Last part. Let's go here. There we go. Okay. So this another time. Then we'll go to another part of the game. Alright. And then do it again. Okay, and those are some other games that people could play too. They have a nice fish right there. Now there's like a whole village in this part of the game. Let's go this way over here. A whole little village with pigs and farm animals everywhere. What's in here? Some headquarters. Oh, these are interesting. Lots of bunks. Oh, lots of bunks right here. I've never seen this place before. This is like a little hotel they got here. This was like the pirate hotel. Pirate motel. I've probably been here before, I just don't really remember it. Ah. This is where people can search for things on a quest. Yeah, in this game, things are called quests. As we've talked a lot about quests people have had, and this is a quest people like to do. Alright, let's go here. Oh, nice. Pirate flags. Alright, so we can't go on the balcony right now, and this is like a table where people can go and, I don't know, dispute things. And there's maps. Very adventurous room. All the gold and treasure right there. It's like locked in like a cage. It's Beckett's portrait. I like the storms. Storms are nice. This part was well made. Okay. It is raining again. This is like a doctor hospital room. Like a. That's what it was like for these people at that time. Yeah, this was like a doctor's bed. Doctor's bed. There was some shoes. There's like pilgrim type shoes. How interesting. We could change our appearance here. We'll do that another time. That's cool. Well, this is where they would go wash up. It's like a bathroom. That's their shower. All right, now we're going to one of the islands again. Okay, here we go. In the stormy seas, we go. All right, now speeding to straight to. We're not going to Devil's Anvil, but we're going that direction generally. Okay, let's see. All right, now we're going in the other direction. Let's see. I think we went to Cutthroat before. We'll go to Outcast Island this time. I'm scared. Here's the Outcast Island. All right, this is where they have these venomous Venus flytraps at. Well, the sounds, graphics are good. Oh, that's a good scene right there. All right, and right there. Let's slice this. Or like that scene with the palm trees and the moon. That's nice. Okay, something about this I like is the way the clouds are moving. That's a good feature that they added to the game. Usually they would just stay still. Yeah. And it never rained in the game before until recently. Yeah, very realistic effects in this one. Good evening, Moki. Thank you for the link. I'm gonna save it. Oh yeah, Mermaid. I It definitely is awful, and uh, that was very hard because I read through it. It's very hard to watch, so uh, I'm glad that you were brave enough to go and see that because it's very evil. Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's do this. Thank you, Moki. I want to say really appreciate the rabbit holes that you've been having me go down. Really awesome. Facts. All right. So they're calling it baby farms where they satanically made teens or younger have babies and take them all. Yep. And my baby take so understand how traumatic it truly is. I got to see Shaw Apper, but these girls didn't. Nope. Yeah, they're into these satanic rituals and the harvesting of androchrome in kids. That's what they do, and for to be the opposite of what God does, and to get the androchrome, and yeah, they're just harvesting them like cattle. It's very sad. Understood, Moki. Yeah, yeah. Especially after all that you've seen, you definitely need a drink and some food after that. That was it's a messed up read. Indeed. How helpless they felt and how tortured they were is unbelievable. Yeah, it's they went through a lot of psychological torment, lots of evil, definitely things that they'll never forget. All right, that worked. Right, right, exactly. It gives off weird vibes when they do that. Because it's the part of a human because they're still the human side of them is trying to stop of like it's feeling something, but they're trying to detach themselves from the feelings and emotions of what they did. Right, definitely. Very well said. I'm not finished recharging. It's me very close. There we go. Very good. Okay. Oh, good. Ah, right, right. The upset knowing they were pregnant. Yep. Playing Cotton Hat. and we'll replace these lavender dress shoes. Oh, we're gonna replace this right now. Watch this. Mermaid sea cap. Where'd that? Okay, now we're closing. An evil person being upset with evil is just odd. Like, even they were disgusted. It seems Jeffrey and... Yeah, there was some email that Jeffrey got, and he thought it was disgusting. Yeah, and he was, like, telling them to stop. Like, there are some people that were even more depraved, like, really, really depraved people that they were encountering. Because I remember seeing some emails where he was getting uncomfortable by some of the stuff that they were seeing. Yeah, because there's different levels of people that are twisted like that, and some of them are a bit more twisted than others, if that makes any sense. Like, it's like, okay, I'm glad they did fight and get jealous or upset. They caused it was weird. The fact that those babies were made by Jeffrey and sent to people is awful scary. Yeah, he was basically like raising a farm of, he was a human trafficker in like slavery, like they had back in the old days down in the United States and down here. It's basically the same thing. You know, this is why slavery needs to be abolished. You know, another reason why it needs to be abolished, because that's basically what it is. And this is basically an island like Epstein's Island. Like hundreds of years before it became Epstein's Island. Mermaid says, I'm going to be honest, I don't think I've ever heard such a vile thing. I've heard of evil stuff, of him getting babies to give away. It's the worst thing ever. Oh, there's pictures of him. The victims are redacted, but there are pictures of him cuddling 12-year-olds and babies and stuff. Yeah. Like, how do one victim recognize a child, then two, use the child you got pregnant to get another child hurt? It made no sense. Oh, and Mermaid, there is an interview that he did, and you can look it up on YouTube. His final interview with Bannon. He talked so casually about it, and he said he was a tier 1 sex offender, and he just tries like that. He's the lowest ranking like kind, and he's what if he's way worse than that in my opinion. But you see the way he'll talk like it's talking about his garden in the backyard. You know, really no empathy, compassion, remorse. Oh, you saw it. Okay, you saw it. Yeah, because and he was talking about economics and about spirituality at the end. What he acknowledges spirituality, but he's using it for evil spirituality. Oh yeah, yeah, you saw that. Yeah, very awful. Yeah, it thinks because it's a very clever and like Machiavellian. Machiavellian was a politician from Italy who came up with all these like schemes and politics, political games. That's like Epstein was. He played he played those games with people's minds. Definitely, he was a trickster. Like Loki, the god of the. It's in Norse mythology. The Loki is a god of mischief and like evil. In mythology, that's where that came from. I've never seen a sunset like this before in the game. That's pretty incredible. Okay, I like that. Or it's a sunrise. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, I understand, Mermaid. Uh, that is extremely disturbing. And that he did that to his own. Like he created offspring, allegedly, and he would do that stuff to them. Yeah, it's I my appetite has been moved by it too. Yeah, it's very just gross, disturbing content that I don't even call it content. Disturbing uh, mess, this waste that he put. He did. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, blending in like a chameleon. That's what they do to try to disguise it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. Right. Yeah, exactly. That's what grooming is. And there is this girl from Eastern Europe he got when she was 15, and he trafficked her and had her as an adult go and attract other girls to his depraved massage of Ponzi scheme to get them involved with creepy stuff. Murray said it's a huge manipulation because it's like you're safe and we love you, but no, we don't because we use you. That's grooming. Yep. Yeah. Exploitation. Indeed. A wolf in sheep's clothing. Yeah, he also did a lot of blackmail too, and he knew all kinds of celebrities and famous people and billionaires. Uh, he was part of Rockefeller. He and on the board of Rockefeller, he was another thing that he was a part of was Lexer. I think his name was the one that found Victoria's Secret, which I'm not surprised he did that one too. He knew a couple of billionaires. Yeah, to hear the and to read about what these victims had to go through is very haunting. Very haunting. It's a like they were like in a life or death situation, and they're like adrenaline floods them, and like they're never the same again. With these like Diddy type freak offs, you could call it what they did. And he knew Diddy, by the way. He went to a Diddy party one time, so that's not surprising either. But he had connections with him. Yeah, there's all these emails, especially Pizza Mermaid is known to be a code word about something too, apparently. So that's all ties into the scheme. And today Maxwell was not really giving much information today to Congress when she was brought up for deposition. A criticism about the files is that they keep redacting the names of the people that were involved with this, and they should be known and they need to be exposed. But I guess for legal reasons they don't. But that's something they need to do is to expose the information. Yeah. And we all need some rum from the Rum Island after all this stuff we've seen and learned about. The sneeze. Oh, Lord. I'm scared. Alright, sneezed. I will reiterate myself, and I'll say this till the cows come home, that everybody needs to be focused on the Epstein files, no matter who was involved. And they all need to be exposed. Now let's look at the map to see where this Rum Island is. The thing about his death is they had a document about his death like the day before. He was either deleted himself, or they deleted him, or they moved him somewhere. They don't have the file. It's well, they had the file ready the day before. Okay, looking for Rum Island. I'm scared. All right. Now there was cultures back in the ancient world in Rome and the Middle East, Africa, across that old world where they did go with people that they had legalization of like underage children, which is very disturbing for us. But as time progressed, our civilization went away from that, and because they would go by puberty back then, but now what people go by is mentally somebody is not ready yet, mentally. So we have to wait for them to be an adult, like 18. So I'm glad that, our civilization changed it to 18. Some parts of the world don't do that, but, it's not just, even if the body's mature, doesn't mean the mind's mature yet. So, and even the Vikings did stuff like that too, with the slavery they did, the Norsemen. In the old world, did a lot of sick things, the Romans and all. But in our modern times, we don't do stuff like that anymore. And the practices of Epstein, and the demonic, satanic spirituality about them needs to be condemned and not normalized. Which, of course, I think there are those out there trying to normalize these weird things, but this really puts a dent in that, and the people coming together and exposing it. That's one thing that is positive about this, that people are unanimously coming together against this. Oh, Rum Runner's Island's right by Tortuga, so I have a whole cargo crate I need to go dock somewhere to unload it. I don't even know where my ship is, whatever. So I'm just going to find the nearest island, and I didn't even realize I was filled to the gills like that. Really, I didn't even know that. Okay, I'm way in the middle of nowhere. Yes, they see it was horrible, but now there's some parts of the world that don't see it that way, because there's poverty, there's poverty, there's social, tribal, and religious odd customs in other places where they normalize those things. But I'm glad our civilization figured out it was wrong. Yeah, but what's his name? Epstein and them, they're using it for evil spirituality. There's people with depraved sexual fantasies like Ted Bundy, for instance, is one that I coin a lot because he was a notorious serial killer that he appeared like a normal person, but he wasn't. So he was able to trick a lot of people. And he kind of gave a last interview summarizing like what he like experienced, like how it worked. But people don't really believe him a lot of the stuff he said. But he kind of gives like a generalization about what people are like. And yeah, they have an addiction, and they have a depraved fantasies where they want something more and more. Like with Epstein, he probably wanted something more and more extreme, and he was figuring out the money to get it and to do it. And then he eventually got desensitized, and then these famous people, these wealthy people are like, hey, we want to do this weird stuff, these evil things. He's like, all right, let's do this. And there's the alleged androchrome that they could harvest from young people, allegedly, that was also a factor. So, yeah, lots of messed up stuff. And a lot of those videos and pictures and things are just horrific. And the testimonies and the court documents about it are horrific. So I like to read legal documents because of the trial stuff that I was into. And I remember, like, Wade Wilson, Capri Law, and I would like to read through those documents, legal documents. So I knew about the legal documents. Now with Epstein, I apply it to the Epstein stuff. Yeah, very disturbing information about what witnesses from the FBI saw, what they did. All of that was very haunting, and it's good for the public to know about. Yeah, not good, but I think it's a positive thing for people to know what's going on. Let's just say it that way. There's nothing good about this. Alright, this is all those zombies. Alright, let's try this out. Try out this new sword. Crazy thing about this game is that there's so many there's a tree trunks that roam around. That's wild to me. They're definitely by some dark magic. All right, this sword, although these enemies are not the strongest I could fight, it does very well. It's a board sword. A broadsword. That's what it is. But it also has healing powers to it. I forgot what's in this tunnel right here. Okay. All right. That's it. That's what's in here. Oh, well, we'll just transport directly to the other island. Let's go. Let's go here. Go to Tortuga, then we'll go to the Rum Island. All right, now going to the Rum Island. Yes, somewhere there's the rum thing. Right here. X marks the spot. That's where some treasure is, but we don't get it right now. Oh, there's the rum cellar. All right. All right. So this is the all the rum we need for chat to forget about all the disturbing things we've seen from the files. All right. All right. Let's go. Let's see. All right. So some things that are going on with Maxwell. All right. In her closed door deposition before House Oversight Committee on Monday, February 9, 2026, Ghislaine Maxwell declined to answer any questions, repeatedly invoking her Fifth Amendment right against self incrimination. Key takeaways from the season include refusal to testify, appearing virtually from federal prison in Texas. Maxwell refused to provide information regarding Jeff Epstein's crimes or potential co-conspirators. Request for clemency. Maxwell's legal team stated she would be willing to speak fully and honestly only if granted clemency by President Trump. Political reaction from the Republicans. Chairman James Corner expressed deep disappointment, labeling the outcome fruitless while continuing the committee's investigation into the government's handling of the Epstein case. Democratic committee members accused Maxwell of using the subpoena as a platform to campaign for a pardon and urged the White House to officially rule out any forms of clemency. Exculpatory claims. Although she remained silent during the deposition, her lawyers suggested she could provide testimony to absolve both Trump and Bill Clinton of wrongdoings in their past associations with Epstein. The deposition was part of a broader congressional probe that recently unsealed the unredacted Epstein files and has also targeted former President Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, for a testimony later this month. Recent unsealed court documents, flight logs, and investigative files have named numerous prominent figures associated with Epstein. Those files not necessarily incite criminal violence awareness of Epstein's illegal activities. Right. Bill Clinton frequently mentioned for his past association and travel on Epstein's plane. He has denied any knowledge of Epstein's crimes. Donald Trump, known as a long-time acquaintance before a 2004 falling out, he had constantly denied any wrongdoings. Prince Andrew was accused of sexually abuse. Let's see. Related to the case in 2022, Ehud Barak, a former Israeli prime minister and who had regular contact with Epstein, visited his New York home. Bill Richardson, former New Mexico governor, named in a deposition someone victim was allegedly directed to have sex with before his death. Yeah, Mick Jagger's in it. There's a picture of Mick Jagger and Clinton with a victim. It doesn't mean they did anything, but that's kind of like an example of the blackmail they would do. But I don't know for sure what is what. As we predicted, some more details about Maxwell is as we predicted during her virtual deposition from Texas federal prison. Maxwell maintained a total refusal to cooperate, citing her Fifth Amendment rights against self-incrimination for every question asked. That's something Epstein did also. All right. Offer of testimony for clemency we talked about. Committee frustration. The chairman of Comer of Republican Kentucky describes the season as the session is very disappointing, noting the committee had prepared questions regarding not just her crimes but identity of potential co-conspirator. The Democrats on the committee, such as Rep. Sahas, accused Maxwell of campaigning for a pardon and criticized the president for not yet officially ruling out the possibility of clemency. Concurrent evidence review. The deposition occurred on the same day that lawmakers were first granted access to unredacted Epstein files at the Department of Justice. Representatives of Roe Kahana and Thomas Macy reported seeing the names and mugshot-style photos of the six men who remained redacted in public versions of the documents. Legal standing. Her legal team argued silence was necessary due to pending habeas petition that claims her original conviction was fundamentally unfair. More information on her legal appeals. Right. Ghislaine has persuaded multiple legal avenues to overturn her 2021 sex trafficking conviction. A 20-year sentence, and her current strategy relies on pending federal pension and high-profile requests for presidential clemency. Supreme Court rejection, October 2025. U.S. Supreme Court declined to hear Maxwell's appeal, which argued her prosecution violated 2007 non-prosecution argument NPA between Jeffrey Epstein and federal prosecutors in Florida. Appellate court rulings. The Second Circuit Court of Appeals previously upheld her conviction, ruling that Florida agreement did not bind prosecutors in New York, that her sentence was procedurally reasonable. Habeas corpus pension. All right, so this is more about the habeas corpus. Maxwell filed a pension in federal court in New York seeking to vacate her conviction. New evidence claims her attorney argued that the substantial new evidence shows her trial was spoiled in constitutional violations and fundamentally unfair process. Undicted co-conspirators, the pension named 29 individuals, including 4 co-conspirators, 25 men who allegedly reached secret settlements but were never indicted. Impact on testimony. The spending pension was formally legal reason cited for her refusal to answer questions during the 2026 congressional deposition. Conditional offer. Maxwell's legal team stated that she would provide a complete account of Epstein's operations only if granted clemency by Trump, as we said. White House. White House stands while President Trump had previously stated he would neither consider it nor consider it. More recent said no leniency is currently being discussed. You ate another burrito. Okay, nice. Okay, Moki. Yeah. Those I've had those burritos you talk about. I think they actually taste good. You know. I don't know if some people may not be interested in them, but I think even if they're frozen, it could still taste good. Okay, I hope that you had a good day today. And curious about any quests you did and how they went. Hope it all went okay. We're going to now continue this. Okay. Maxwell's habeas corpus pension filed December 25 claimed her 2021 sex trafficking convictions. Oh, you put cheese and green sauce on it. Oh, that's delicious. Yeah, I put hot sauce and some stuff on mine. And sometimes I put it inside of it. So that's very good. It sounds, delicious. I remember when at my friend's place, we would cook yellow rice, and they knew about the seasonings of the state of Louisiana, and man, you can make things taste so different with seasonings and spices and sauces and stuff. So yeah, I learned from my friends. Mary Toodles cooks too, but I learned other things about seasonings and things like that from friends and family. Yeah. Growing up, I didn't completely understand the value in it, but now I do. That's why spices were so valuable back then. Unindicted individuals, 29 of them. Okay, Maxwell's. Let's highlight this. Loki says, I got another surprise in the mail. I'm going to have to call attorney more. I don't exactly what. Oh, okay. Yeah, the attorney will explain everything to you. It's a surprise request for you. All right. Hope it all gets settled out. Thanks for letting me know what's going on. And the Super Bowl game was, I never seen a game like that before yesterday, where that type of victory where they just like a landslide like that. Wow, something I've not seen before. And talked to one of my friends while watching a game, discussing the different teams, and um, continued on until the end. So yeah, that's a game I've not seen like something like that before. Also, Moki, curious, how are the fur babies doing? As I know, they like to thump around like it's a tribe of people. Because I know we have cats like that upstairs. They'll be running around, and it sounds like a tribe of people running around. So, uh, always like to know about the kitties. The game was kind of boring. Yeah, shout out to my Toodles. Yeah, many people thought the game was boring because it just seemed, one side. I could see that argument. And one of my friend was telling me that he thinks that the Patriots cheated at some point, like the last game to get there. And they just didn't seem ready for it, and it was just kind of like a tidal wave, like yeah, this their defense and all wasn't uh, really working. I mean, they said like the Saints will sometimes not play right, but yeah, that was really a something else. Yeah, the it's definitely was like a tidal wave just going through um, the game. Yeah, so some people, yeah, but I will say, Moki, from what I've seen online, either people are happy about it or thought it was boring. Yeah. And I was re-reviewing in 2019. There was a time where my team, the Saints, almost went to the Super Bowl again, but a referee called out something and it wasn't supposed to be called out, and now they made some new rules to adjust that from happening again if something like that occurred, and they messed up on that. So yes, I saw the halftime show. Yeah, and I watched the whole thing through, the entire thing, and they nearly won it, but it's good that they fixed it. Now some people think games are rigged. That's possible. Some people think it's not likely, but it's possible that could be in some situations, like with the Patriots going there in the first place. Let's see here. All right, this is the fallout. So, following the New England Patriots 29-13 loss to the Seattle Seahawks, say Super Bowl XL on February 8, 2026. Oh, I saw the Kid Rock one too. Yes, I saw both of them. I thought the Kid Rock one was cool. All right, and we have the post game players coaching criticism. All right, Will Campbell, the Rocky offensive tackle, is facing heavy social media backlash for his performance and conduct following the loss. Campbell allowed 14 pressures, the most by tackle in playoff game since 2018, and reportedly declined all media requests, leaving the quarterback Drake May to answer for the team's struggle alone. Mike Vrabel, the head coach, has fast criticism for a bizarre fourth quarter decision after scoring a touchdown to make the game 19-6 with 12:27 time remaining. Vrabel chose to kick an extra point rather than attempt a 2-point conversion that would have cut the lead to 11. Yeah, I thought that was a mistake what they did in the game too. Fraud allegations. Despite 14-3 regular season, critics have renewed fraud whispers, arguing that Patriots' record inflated by the weak schedule and they were exposed by Seattle's domination defense. Now, Tom Brady neutral controversy. Throughout the Super Bowl, the weak franchise legend Tom Brady faced intense scrutiny from fans, former teammates like Vince Wilfork and Damian Woody for initially claiming he had no dog in the fight. Reversal following the heat from New England, Brady pivoted on February 6th, posting a message supporting for owner Robert Kraft. "No, I got your back, RKK." Alright, so that is some of the backlash that's been received from the game that didn't really seem that entertaining to most. Alright, next part is this. Let's go here. Oh. This is really the next part here. This way. Oh, hello, Mermaid. Sorry I didn't know X was going to be live. I have everyone on at the same time. Oh, thank you, Mermaid. That's very sweet of you. Yeah, everyone decided to just go live at this time. And earlier, I was live for 20 minutes, but I didn't press the live button. Right. And yeah, the whole Epstein thing blew your mind, and go see their Mermaid. Right. Now, the Nancy part I want to do an update on. Let's put her name right here. Oh, congratulations to him. I'm glad that he got monetized. Facts. Facts. Yeah, that rabbit hole has been very compelling. Very compelling. Oh, and by the way, the Epstein video that uh, I did very well, and the one I uploaded one earlier today. That was my quest. Is I went down the Epstein rabbit hole again because there's content. I mean, I already uh, contexts rather. I got from the rabbit hole of Epstein and then compiled it into the video again. to make a new one, and I put that out there. But yeah, the if you like the Epstein one that I did, and that's good to expose that, and I want to continue making those videos for people to see because we need to know what's going on. Update. You found out about it when you were a teenager. Yeah, that is very creepy. How long the satanic pedo clan in the ran the world? I found out, sadly, teenager, why I'm conservative and Christian. Oh yeah, I knew about it. Well, let's say I knew about it when I was a teenager too. When I was learning about different conspiracy theories. Yeah, yeah, I knew about it when I was. There's all kinds of conspiracy theories about certain groups of people. Like, say, there's media, there's movies, there's Hollywood, there's executives and people that have occultic symbolism and occultic practices, and there could be a select board or a few that may be behind all these things. And I learned about that growing up, pretty much. Yeah, so I did too. Definitely, a satanic power has taken over and has the key possessions of economic and political life. Loki, it's crazy how certified real and evidence now. You know what I can't believe, guys? The people will hate on Trump, which he isn't perfect, but he released the files like he said, and they still bashing as usual. Thank you, Mermaid, because all the different administrations that were around never released anything. And he uh, released this, and as I said, there's of clearly, there's nothing that he did anything, and yeah, he definitely his administration did it, and I know it's a disturbing thing, and there's other things, of course, going on, but yeah, he did it, and Epstein was not a fan of Trump actually, so that's a good thing that he was not a fan of him. If they were in cahoots doing creepy things to each other, he would have liked him. So no, they didn't get along. They had a falling out, but yeah, he did. Absolutely. That's why I try to tell people it's like there's no need to hate on the dude because his group, even if it could have been done differently, so people have think that it could have been done better or whatever, or he try to say it didn't exist, or it's just remember there's millions and millions of files that they had to redact before they released it. But people could do things differently. People could learn from mistakes. We all can. But yeah, absolutely, his group did release it. Right, exactly. And I agree, Mermaid, that I feel that I didn't like it when Trump said that too, but it is good he eventually did release it. He said it came out today that Trump was one of the first to call the police on him. Well, that's very good. It's very good because yeah, he didn't because Epstein was in an interview was complaining about Trump. He didn't like him, but that's a good thing because see, Trump I would feel would expose the creepy stuff he was doing because see, Trump knew people the whole time, and he was like he knew these elites in these circles, and he's a billionaire, but he was going to expose it. That's what his plan was. The fact that I couldn't and we couldn't save people from their utter torture will forever haunt me. It's like a form of terrorism. Oh, absolutely. It certainly is a form of terrorism and a form of genocide as well and enslavement. It's like 9/11. It's stuff like that. What the terrorists do, and a genocide. a it's just like there was the communist genocides, there was the Nazi genocides, there was different organizations did things, these elites. And eventually, now we have this Epstein and the same type of elites are doing these things. So yeah, definitely. Very well said, Mermaid. Trump knew he was a scumbag, and that was true, and that does suck. Trump knew, but could anyone expect? I'm glad he didn't do trafficking. Absolutely. And Trump has family, and he's a ladies' man, but he was never known to do anything like creepy like that. There's people that have maybe had accusations against him, but they don't. It seems like propaganda, in my opinion. I don't know anything for certain, but nothing. He's not known for things that are, nefarious like that. Oh, thank you, Moki, for information. It was 2019 and some other dates for sure reported to the FBI, something like that. Like, come on, they claimed they gained grapes and leading children, but I don't think Trump did. I'm just being honest. Right. I don't think he did either. There's nothing that seems to point that. Like, there's a person I was reading about in the files, Leon Leon Black. He was under investigation. His attorneys were talking to the victim's attorneys. That guy did something, in my opinion. A lot of these people that were doing these things, you could clearly see there's some evidence of, but a lot of the things are redacted in there, which we eventually want to expose people that did these things. But, right, there's nothing really about that guy, no. Trump, no. Where, nothing concrete about him, right. They come up with weird numbers haven't seen any of my research. Yeah, it's just these figures are quite jaw dropping, definitely. Yeah, and I pulled off the old nighter again with my research. Yeah, and all right. Now regarding with Nancy, the update about her is that a final ransom deadline of 5 p.m. local time on Monday passed without any sign of payment or proof of life from the alleged captors. The initial note demands $6 million in Bitcoin. All right, about to sneeze again. About to sneeze again. I was about to sneeze. Well, I have headphones on. That's all. I couldn't really hear you. Thank you. Murray says, you know what I think? Imagine someone went to Diddy Party or Epstein Island not knowing like a star and haunted them. Imagine this all. I'd feel awful if I saw that and never went back and people drug my name through the mud and said I was rapist though. Yeah, that's something you gotta remember, Mermaid, is that Epstein did a lot of blackmail. Like there's a picture of Mick Jagger with Clinton with a victim, but that doesn't mean they necessarily did anything. He would, say a girl could look 23 when she's not, and they'll go take a picture together. Go, oh, look what you did, buddy. Now I have to blackmail you. And that's what he did. He was very into blackmail. That's how he was able to stay out so long and get his hands into the pockets of those people. He was he's like a cliche villain. That Miss Adams, a friend of mine, was talking to me about how she wasn't interested in Harry Potter because the true stuff is even more scary. I like Harry Potter, but I could see it's like a real life Harry Potter type story, or some kind of villain, evil in the world. It's truth is stranger in fiction, as they say. Yeah. Imagine if you were a star and didn't know about the orgies and know you're in that mess. Yep, it could happen to anybody, and That's why I always say beware the company you keep, but there's hindsight 2020 where you don't know what is what. And then eventually it comes out, about that. So yeah, definitely. All right, so the fact they frame babies like animals has me blown away. Never heard of that in my life. Yeah, right. The things that I could compare it to is when they had the communist genocides and also what the Nazis did. They did things like that and they used people for human experiments. They even some eras in the colonial eras, they had obviously slavery and they had uh, different throughout history. They had slavery even before America was even here, like way back. Like I was telling you before about the Romans and the different civilizations of that era. Yeah, they this is very barbaric activities that don't need to be happening in the 21st century. Right. Very evil. Yeah, Moki, it is very hard to believe and shocking. And there's also a denial phase people could go through where they don't believe something. And a lot of people are just on Netflix or they're watching a game or they're doing their 9 to 5. Their heads are in the sand still. I do think more people will wake up over time, but there are still those that are not awakened yet about what's going on. Exactly. Ryan said it's so weird because knew if one gets pregnant, they could hide and do whatever. It's so odd. Yeah. So I said it's like they had like a human farm. That's what it was like, a human farm. He already said, I have Mara friend and she concerning me. She seems to believe lies and she's like, where she said I was rather something else. Yeah, because a lot of people are, they will. People do not like information like this. We don't like it either, but we're more awakened to handle it better. They denial. They don't think it affects them personally. It just they want to watch something that's not real, like a TV show. Remember what or Moki was talking. Moki and Sarah both told me about is, and Moki confirmed what Sarah told me, like last year, is that there was this like the television is like telling a vision, and channels like to use magic back then, and the same way the wizards conjured up something, they used the televisions to influence people's behavior, and there are sometimes to dumb people down. And Mary Toodles and I have talked about TV shows nowadays are nothing like they used to be back in the past because they're dumbing people down now. So that's a undeniable fact that people just were conditioned to be like that because they didn't want people waking up. Right? Said, yeah, I'm very traumatized, but I'll do it in portions with mental health. Yeah, yeah, do it at your own pace, and I think it's very uh, traumatizing indeed. Absolutely, too. Mermaid says, yeah, television, spirit boxes, pearls, dimensions. Yep, yep. When you say that, there's all about spirit boxes, and it's a bit horrifying, but so real, right? And even my old pal I talked about aliens with, Douglas, he was uh, telling me about how some music, can have a certain rhythmic thing to it that can condition people to be a certain way, hypothetically. And it comes out scientifically, he was right. Because I realized he was right about a lot of things about the aliens and Planet 10. A lot of that stuff came out to be true. And now we have y'all to confirm what others before said as well. And So that's what it is, and they use all that to condition people. Like I said, I can't wrap my head around people worshiping Satan. Like, why damn your soul? Oh, I know. I was thinking about how for instance, the Satanists that we've seen in little clips that you showed us, is that I know about Anton LaVey and the Church of Satan. I know about all that stuff, and they. Oh, Beans! It's great to see you. It's been a while. Welcome to the ship. So, yeah, the with Satanists and stuff, they will go and um, they believe in this world and what they can get out of it, and they really believe that they're going to get something from Satan, some kind of a way, and but it's not true because they're just going to get nothing, in the end. Yeah, they're a total lie, and right, so I can't fathom that, like, worshiping that thing. It's so pathetic. We're all going to have a great laugh, though, once we see him. Right. Imagine getting all cloak and worshiping it, all quick power, and that's it. Mediate power like it's godly, so silly. Exactly, because a lot of them want to become gods themselves. Like, they want to elevate themselves to God's level. Yeah, they're gonna get hell for eternity. There's been near-death experiences, and some people that have been there saw witches and people that conjured up dark spirits, and they say that they're like this a cube, right? So there's this. The way it works is there's these cubes, and they're all like lined up and stacked on top of each other, and there's people inside of them, and they are like, say there's a witch or some sort of person like that, and everything it did to other people gets mented back onto them. The demons rip them up, and then they come back in one piece. That's basically what happens from according to these near-death experiences, and that's what's going to happen for all eternity. Like some people are stuck in a coffin for 300 years. There's they don't get a reward like they're tricked to believe. Like Epstein himself was a trickster and a liar, and that's going to happen to them in the afterlife. Right. Satan was the first liar in the Garden of Eden. And other cultures and civilizations have a Pandora's box or Gilgamesh or some sort of falling out that happened or some adversary. Even Norse mythology, there's Loki. There's, Greek mythology. There's some sort of a trickster involved, even in those other systems. Imagine being locked up with Satan, laughable too, right? I cry for moronic souls who will be there forever. They just die for their stupid hurts. I don't know why, but I trust God. Amen. Oh, okay, Beans. I miss you very much, and I've been thinking about you. I haven't seen you in a while, so I'm glad that you came. Um, in a way, I've been sending telepathic signals, and it looks like you've finally tapped in, finally received it, or you received it, and you're able to come here now. Thank you for letting me know. And Murray said, "It's like, hey, Satan is real. Jesus must be. So I run to him. Amen. Yeah, Jesus is real. That's why all different religions claim Jesus as part of their own. So that must mean that Jesus is the truth. Like if they're all saying that he's the truth, and there's part of their religion, like multiple ones everywhere, of all kinds of there's thousands of them that claim Jesus as a holy man, right? So it's best just be a Christian and follow him because that's the no one else is trying to claim anybody else but him, right? And it's very Christianity is very different than other faiths. Say good deeds are important, but it's not by good works alone. It's also by spiritual awakening too. But good deeds are important too. But it's not just that. There's other things as well. All right. Let's see. And imagine, okay, and now one thing, let's see what this is, and then they'll have like Satanists that will think that there's no afterlife, and they're like atheistic people when they use Satan as a form of rebellion, but it's not really a good message of rebellion, though. Yeah, amen. Hopefully, it's a spiritual awakening for people, and like for instance, politically speaking, I've talked about how all over YouTube that when people have economic hardships and they'll see and people that I know that were like in the middle of the Antifa riots, they had awakening when they saw stuff like that. A friend of mine I made recently was banking district, and they were seeing these things being set up the day before. Then the next day, the people that were like on drugs that were crazy were burning down and destroying windows. They felt darkness come over them, and they turned to God. And she came to God, right, back to God, right? Because people have awakenings during these hard times. So I do hope it. I agree with you. I hope it is a spiritual awakening, and I believe it will be. He's everywhere, and who does everyone curse? That's the right God and Jesus. They do say of F Buddha or Muhammad. That's universal to say Jesus is God, right? Because Christianity is attacked, and that's who Satanists attack, not the other religions. And they attack Christianity because it's the truth, right? And the thing is about, like if somebody said something bad about Muhammad or some other religions, let's say Buddha or whatever, people get all angry and people don't leave them alone. But like Christianity seems like it's a practical joke everywhere that people could just like mock it openly. It's ridiculous, So I do think it's being targeted specifically, and people just think they could just normalize doing that towards Christians. And remember, that's the only one being attacked, not the other ones. Right. I'm sure many of those victims are saved and prayed to Jesus, but they had passed to, and God bless them. Amen. Yeah. Everyone in the world curses the name, no other name. Right. Right. It's of Jesus is the Spirit of God. He is the Word of God, and became flesh. Right. And part of a logos. Yeah. Let's see. All right, so this is some information about the Satanists. Is that most modern satanic organizations are non-theistic and do not believe in afterlife at all, and with theistic branches may hold diverse spiritual views. And I remember a few years ago when I was back in school, there was a Muslim I would talk to, and I knew, I talked to all kinds of people all the time, and he told me that he did admit that Christianity's attacked the most over other religions, and it is odd, and it's true. It's like it is attacked, and Jesus is specifically targeted. Yeah, that's true. And even people in the other religions can't deny that Christians and Jesus are attacked frequently. A lot and I'm nothing against anybody of any other faiths, but I do want respect for Christianity, just as they don't talk about other religions, and they attack Jesus, and Jesus was not a warlord. He wasn't, he didn't do anything violent or in his time. The break is over. Hope you have an awesome week. Okay, Beans. Take care, and thank you for hanging out with us. Have a good one. Yeah, and they don't do that. and I think that it just shows a sign were made about us as the truth, and Satan's attack on Christianity. Right? And yeah, because they will focus on, people are hostage and all to this day over Jesus. Yep. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to explain. That it's very bizarre their obsession with Jesus, because there's all kinds of, they don't attack other religions, they attack Christianity specifically, right? And when demons manifest in people, they get all, you know triggered about it. Like, they'll be offended that somebody doesn't exist, they say. Right. I mean, focus on the here and now, because they believe this life is only one. They emphasize living it to the fullest through indulgence and self fulfillment. Death as extinction, death is seen as the total cessation of existence. Mortality through legacy. Mortality is viewed only as the memories left behind and influence the one had no others. See, this is what the Satanists think. They believe in the here and now. They don't believe like a afterlife, but because but they're going to have an afterlife though. Those who believe in Satan as a literal deity or have more varied views. Diverse spiritualism. Some believe in reincarnation or moving to a higher dimensional reality. That doesn't happen for them though. Oh, some of them believe in joining Satan. Certain groups believe death leads to joining the deity in a realm sometimes called Sheol, or dark kingdom of knowledge and gnosis. So these people believe they'll go to, if that is true, they will be with Satan, but it won't be fun. Spiritual evolution. Some practitioners view the soul as something that returns to its source or continues to evolve once freed from physical body. So that is what the Satanists believe. All right, let's see this. All right, let's see this. Yeah, so all the spiritualism that we talk about and the things with Epstein, all it all ties in, it's all connected. Alrighty. Let's go to the this. Let's go here. And yeah, so there's very disturbing of now. A lot of the pictures from Epstein is where they're at parts of Europe and fancy places. That's something that I have noticed, and a lot of money to travel around like that. You know, and he got it from those people he was associated with. Yeah, he was the ultimate scammer. Let's see. Let's see. Hey, Mary Toodles. Something funny happened earlier. When I went live in the beginning, I forgot to press the live button, so I was talking to myself for 20 minutes.
Oh, I saw that you went live a second time, alert, and I wondered what happened. That's something.
Okay, Moki, good night to you. See you tomorrow, and I look forward to those links. Thank you. All right. These are some stars associated with the occultism. I was sitting here. Oh, nice. Nice. Oh, yeah, you were sitting there. Yeah, I was keeping a mermaid waiting. I was being a goofy, silly alien. Um, huh?
A goofy goober.
Huh?
A goofy goober.
Yeah, goofy goober, like from SpongeBob. Yeah. I know. I'm gonna get put in timeout for that. For the being late. I was being the goofy goober alien with without a mermaid, the spaceship would just fall out midair. Going, oh, and that. Yeah, yeah. That's don't. I'll count on me. I'll definitely cause a mess, a ruckus. Yeah. I remember sometimes I look for my sunglasses and they're already on my shirt. Yeah. I'll I have one of those alien moments. That's why I need you, mermaid, to help us run the spaceship. Scared. And some stars associated with occultism is Sirius, associated with the goddess Isis in Sopdet. It's used in talismans to grant favor or spirits and bring peace. Algol, the demon star, historically located in the head of Medusa, seen as harbinger of misfortune, modern practitioners use it to intense energy for shadow work and radical personal transformation. Soon I might have to record too. Oh, okay, understood. Now, Mermaid, I will check your stream, God willing, tonight if you do it. I'll look forward to it. All right, the Royal Stars, a group of guardians that make up the cardinal directions: Aldebaran, East Spring, Regulus. Yep, Regulus we talked about the other day. North Summer, Entris, the West Autumn, and Fom Hall Hunt, South Winter. Alright, represents rule of spirit over the four material elements: earth, fire, and water, inverted, associated with Solomon, represents union of opposites: fire, water, and male, female, used talisman to conjure spirits. The Hatragram, known for 11 star fairy star. Among neo pagans, it is used for world of evil, represents the seven traditional planets of alchemy. Interesting. So those are different stars that are used in the occultic practices. All right. All right. How about this? So we've completed our quests for tonight, and at this point, we'll end it for the night. All right. So I yes yeah. Um, we completed what we were going to talk about for the night. All right. So thank you all for hanging out with us and being at the stream with us tonight, and hope you all have a great evening, afternoon, day, and peace.